Hi, everyone. My name is Santiago Martinez, partner at the Arena, and today we're talking about GOTV shift and packet tracking. And so we just released a tool on the Arena Toolbox that'll help you do this. During GOTV, it's incredibly critical that you know what is happening with your program across, your district or state at a given staging location. Whether volunteers are making phone calls, text messaging, knocking on doors, or doing all of the above. Having a realistic picture of how many volunteers are scheduled there, how many people have actually shown up, so that you can know how far through your universe you are going to be able to get, and how you can either shift or adjust priorities throughout GOTV. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll walk through this tool. There's a lot involved here. The first step is to set this up for your campaign. Now, all of the yellow cells here are editable, so you can come in here and do some really, really simple kind of customization around dates and shifts. So in the first section here, you can actually enter in the different shift times that you will have people scheduled for shifts. So time slots where people will be expected to show up and do a given task, as well as the times associated for that for every single day. So each of these are numbered, first shift, second shift, and the numbers here are really important for the matching, so that everything can kind of look up off of each other. And so, this part of it, you may not want to change too much, but making small adjustments and tweaks to the times, maybe yours starts an hour earlier, or maybe one day you won't have a particular shift. You just want to make that edit here. You'll also want to come here and enter in the actual organizers and staging locations. And throughout GOTV, you can actually come back here and see how many phone packets, how many Canvas packets have been out from these staging locations. So this will actually update throughout GOTV to give you some live numbers of what's happening throughout the course of the day. So the next tab that's really, really important is the GOTV report detail tab. This is where all of the action is happening and where you are seeing what is actually happening throughout GOTV. Now, this report will be connected to a report GOTV like Google Doc form. So a lot of people have used forms before to collect survey information or sign up information. We will be using one here throughout GOTV to collect information from these staging locations. So these are things that people will actually be reporting on, the number of confirmed volunteers who have gone out and how many packets went out with those people. For each staging location, it will be really important for us to know a couple of things. One, how many people have actually been scheduled to attend events at these staging locations, and then how many walk packets are available or call packets are available at each staging location. This is important because each staging location will be responsible for talking to voters on the phones or doors. You want to make sure that those voters are being talked to and that those packets don't just sit there. And so having an accurate count of what those are will be really, really important. And so a couple of key pieces of information will be that confirmed data, which will come from My Campaign. You'll want to export that data out of My Campaign and paste it into the Van Data tab, which we have set up here. And we'll feed information into the rest of the report so that we can get an accurate count of how many people are we actually expecting to show up. We'll also want to know the packets that are available. So this is information that will be inputted by either the organizer or the staging location director in these yellow cells. Now the form itself that we've created will show, we'll have places where people can report on different shift times. And you'll be able to see here if they've reported, it'll say yes or no. It'll also give an indication on whether or not people have accidentally submitted a form twice. This way, in communication and confirmation of different numbers and checking in with, from kind of a boiler room desk to the staging location, they can confirm what these numbers are. And if they see anything funny, corrections can be made. And so there's also, at the beginning of the day, you can open and close different staging locations, and we'll show you how to do that in the form. in just a second. But that'll just be important because on particular days of GOTV, you might not be using a particular staging location. And so you just want to be able to know where should you be expecting reports from. Now, what are we actually reporting on? What are people actually submitting reports on? And so we have some nice kind of cell groupings here. So if you open up this plus sign, that'll open up that shift so that we can take a look at what is actually being reported, what's being asked of people. And so if a report has been submitted, it'll say yes, the conditional formatting will change. Our scheduled walk data from My Campaign and the events tab will populate here to show us how many people are scheduled at these particular locations. This is all example data here. And then there's some information that people are submitting via the Google form to show how many volunteers have actually shown up, and then how many packets went out with those individuals. So it might be one-to-one, people might be taking multiple, it might be 2 for 1, 2 people taking 1 packet, depending on what your packet sizes are. And it'll just be really important for you all to clearly define what those are. If 1 packet is going out, does that equal 100 doors? Does that equal 50 doors? That can be really important. And then right next to it, we'll see a calculation of how many packets are left at this staging location. And so hopefully shift by shift, day by day of GOTV, this number is going down. Same is true for the callers. And then if text messengers are scheduled, they can, that information can be tracked here as well, and people can report on that. And so we'll close that up. And then you can kind of see the different shifts here. Now, there's a nice little drop down here so we can see other days of GOTV. And so it'll just be important to come here and change that information so that you're looking at the correct day of GOTV and looking at the correct information for GOTV. And so this gives you a very, very detailed look at every single staging location. And here we have kind of a default display of 10, but you can certainly have more of these staging locations. There's also some quick summary tabs. So again, kind of stepping back and, say like you're a campaign manager looking at this with a candidate, maybe you want to just look at some of these summary tabs to go through and kind of explain what's happening shift by shift, how things are looking. How did our 9 o'clock shift look? How did our noon shift look? And how, what do we actually expected and what are the gaps that we're seeing? We also have a daily summary so that as you progress forward in GOTV, you can actually come back and take a look. Well, are we starting off behind or ahead compared to where we thought we would be, now that we've gotten past, GOTV day 1? Is there any ground that we need to make up? So that's the GOTV shift report itself. And there's a lot here. And again, I'll come back to the instructions. What you'll want to be able to do is create your own form, link it to this document. And we've created an example form for you here. And this is, again, a very, very simple Google form. But again, you're kind of thinking about what the experience is of somebody in that staging location. You'll want to be able to standardize, if there's a shift at noon that's happening, 10, 20 minutes after that shift starts, when volunteers are in and getting trained, somebody's reporting those numbers up so that campaign leadership will know what's happening on the ground. And so they would come here, select their staging location, select which shift they are reporting for, and then they'd be able to enter in the number of canvassers are out who showed up to the staging location, who are now out knocking doors, how many packets they took with them, the number of people making phone calls, the number of phone packets that are currently out, the number of text messengers, and then again, just kind of like confirming what shift they are reporting for and if they are opening or closing a staging location. And so you can see which fields are required here, and then people can hit submit, and this information will then feed into the form responses data here. And so there's some really important steps here. on the instructions tab for linking this form to your copy of the GOTV shift report. But after you create take those steps and make sure that that's linked, this information will then populate and fill that out. There's also a couple of other just quick guides here on just volunteer management. Again, it's really, really important for you to be, scheduling, confirming volunteers in my campaign in the lead up to GOTV, so that we have some really helpful information to plug into this document. And so linked in the instructions is just a quick guide for how to export that data out. There's also in the pages leading up to how you export this data, also just kind of some helpful information in terms of standardizing the scheduling, the shift time, so that everything aligns with with the information that you are then reporting on in the Google form. And so some really key fundamentals here that I think are important to highlight and make sure people understand. This is a very critical part of your GOTV program and will be really important. Thank you for checking out the GOTV Toolbox, and good luck.